Well, Luke, finally a win for incels like us. Backrooms Review. This 4chan-inspired internet horror will define a new generation of filmmakers, and that's from The Independent. Yes, we have some recognition for 4chan's contribution to popular culture.
Yeah, I like how you say you're an incel when you have a kid on the way. You're a very bad incel, if that's the case.
Have you ever heard of The Stork?
Good point,
actually. Yeah, my wife explained to me that the stork kind of brings you a baby, and sometimes it can be black.
Oh, right,
even though the dad's white, so that was like an interesting thing I found out about human biology.
Yeah, and of course that's why you didn't have sex, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay, right.
I just go into the cuck shed and wait for the stork to arrive.
You know what? We don't even need to talk about backrooms. You know, let's just... That's it. That's the opening. Done.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host, Michael, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Luke. And this week, we are celebrating the 25th? No, wait, is this even an anniversary? Or is it just because it's the end of the football... Well, the start of the World Cup?
Yeah, so it is the 25th year.
I thought it was, okay, yeah, because I thought it was 2001. But also, of course, it is the start of the World Cup. And I would assume that has to be one of the reasons why we are looking at Shaolin soccer. So, Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Shaolin soccer, you racist?
Look, they do that in the movie, okay?
Yeah, they do. They do a lot of Chinese things in this movie.
Yeah, it's a very Chinese movie.
Yes, and not at all. Yeah, you can tell it is from the rightful sovereign territory of China because of how Chinese it is.
Yes, definitely, for sure. So, Shaolin Soccer, Chinese. No, sorry. I apologize. So, Shaolin Soccer is a 2001 Hong Kong sports comedy film. Wait, what? Why does it say... What do you mean Hong Kong? Isn't that just part of China? I'm confused. So yeah, it's Chinese. Let's be honest with you. You know. But yeah, obviously because they're not allowed to make movies in China because of the communist government, it has to be made in Hong Kong. And yeah, it's a sports comedy film directed by Stephen Chow, and that is just such a Hong Kong name, isn't it? Stephen Chow.
Yes. Whenever they got the English first name.
Yeah, like Jackie Chan, you know, just you know, so Hong Kong.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, yeah. I like it as well. It's a shame. It
makes me feel proud to be British.
It's a shame, yeah. Eventually, when China takes control of Hong Kong, there'll be no more Stephen Chows, will there?
I know, yeah. There'll be Sting Wong Shongs.
Yes, that everyone will be called that instead. Anyway, so let's get into this. So, Shaolin Soccer was directed and written by Stephen Chow, and it stars Stephen Chow. Yeah, a real Tommy Wiseau thing here. But no, it's actually good. And it also stars Zhao Wei, Ning Man Tat, that's his actual name, man. Ning Man Tat, God, and Patrick Tse. That's Tse. I don't know how you say that.
I feel like it's pronounced say, like Tse.
Yes, it probably is. Say, yeah, say, yeah. So it was released on the 12th of July 2001. So yeah, we're closing in on its 25-year anniversary. Okay, here's what's interesting. On Wikipedia, the running time is 112 minutes.
Oh, that's long, not accurate. Yeah, sorry. So my version of it was, I think, 127. Sorry, 100. So 1 hour 27 minutes, literally less than feature length.
Yes. So mine was also that length.
Yes.
But here's the thing: I started watching the Chinese version of the movie, which was that length. And you know, there were subtitles. It wasn't dubbed. So you obviously watched the dubbed version as well, I imagine.
Yes, I did. Yes. And I actually found it quite funny because there were some moments where, because I also got subtitles just because I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure how well I'll be able to understand this dub. Turned out it was fine. And I eventually turned the subtitles off because the subtitles were slightly different from how it was dubbed, and that annoyed me.
Oh yeah, that often happens, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I started watching the sub, not the dub. Which I'll get into later. But yeah, we did not watch the full movie, either of us. And by the way, I stopped watching the sub because it stopped working. It just stopped working like 6 minutes in. So I
Okay.
just clicked on another version of the movie, which then worked. And I was like, oh, right, this is a different version. Oh, it's 30 minutes less. You know what? You know,
These things happen.
I tried to watch the full version. I guess I'm just going to have to watch the shorter version. There you go. So the budgets, Michael. What was the budget for Shaolin Soccer?
Well, is this in dollars?
This is in Chinese dollars.
Okay.
The Chinese currency is the yuan, of course.
Yes. Although I don't know how it worked in Hong Kong in 2001, like whether they fully switched to Chinese currency.
That's a good point. What is the currency in Hong Kong? Maybe it is like Hong Kong pounds. You know,
Hong Kong pound sterling.
Yeah, they were a former colony of ours. But no, the budget is actually in dollars. So yeah.
Okay, so I mean, let's say the movie feels kind of cheap in some ways, and with that said, I'm going to assume that this cost this might be not. I'm going to say $5 million because I still think it would have been somewhat expensive, but not like insane. $5 million seems right.
Because you have the CGI, of course.
Exactly. Yes.
But it was actually 10 million.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite expensive actually. By the way, just to let you know, I have spent Chinese yuan. You know, I've actually spent that. Yeah. So there you go. Via my phone, I haven't actually had the physical currency in my hands, but yeah, just that's something you should know about me, and everyone should know that. You know,
you're a traitor.
Yeah, I used it to buy something from Starbucks. I can't remember the coffee, but yeah, there you go.
Okay. Wait, was that in China?
That what? Well, yes, that's where you spend.
I don't know. For some reason, I just thought maybe it was some weird thing. I guess in a way, I know that China's like they've opened up, but just Starbucks in China, you may have been spending the currency, but you weren't spending your social currency of being a full-fledged communist. That's all I'll say to you, good sir.
They love Starbucks in Asia. They fucking love it. It's everywhere. You know. So yeah, no, I felt very Asian, to be honest with you. So Michael, what about the box office?
I'm going to guess. Oh fuck, I'm not sure. I almost want to say this movie didn't do insanely well, but maybe it did. I feel like I have heard of this movie before. I'm going to say this movie made 30 million. That's how much money it made.
That's not a bad guess. It's 42.8.
Okay, good.
So yeah, you're not a million miles off. So yeah, Michael, can you tell me whether you liked Shaolin Soccer?
So yes, this movie it's fun. It's obviously silly. It's I guess in the strictest sense, I think I would have to call this so bad it's good. In that a lot of it is just really stupid, and like obviously it's intentional, but I feel it's very absurdist. I think absurdist is a good term for it, which is funny. I will say though, as it went on, and I'm kind of glad I didn't watch the 2-hour version, because as it went on, I was a little bit disappointed that I thought actually I might have on balance preferred this film if it took itself a little bit more seriously. And I have a specific reason for that, which I think is simple enough to just say, which is that the problem is that they're competing in this football competition, but they've already established that these guys literally have superpowers. So when it got to, because like that's the thing, when it starts off, it's like, oh man, this is just so stupid. Like I actually laughed out loud at the bit where he just is like, all right, let's kick off, and he kicks the ball and it just goes flying into the sky. And I think like then it implies like wait, it's like, and like I laughed at that. I was like, that's really funny. But then the problem is, I got less enthused by the film as it went on, because when they start like actually going into the competition, I was like, at this point, I kind of need there to be slightly more serious stakes for me to enjoy it, because now kind of the absurdism and the novelty of that has worn off. That's my overall take. But I still on balance liked it, but just I realized that was an issue I had of it as it went on.
Well, the thing is, the final match is played quite seriously. There isn't a lot of laughs, to be honest with you. The girl Mui, when she walks into the post, if you remember that moment.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, I remember thinking, oh yeah, that's a joke. We haven't had like a joke in a while in this movie, because yeah, it is quite serious. So you just wanted, like, of course, yeah, the whole concept is quite silly. But yeah, you just wanted that silliness to kind of like not show up in the last act. Even though, of course, that would have been, you know, it was always going to be in the last game, wasn't it? You know, they weren't going to stop doing all this stupid, like, kung fu soccer stuff, were they? You know?
I don't know if necessarily not in the last act. I feel like basically in order for the film to work, it probably would have had to not have been quite so absurdist at the start. Because, like, that's the thing.
No, that's what makes it. So
well,
let me tell you.
Yeah,
that,
you
that's
tell, what do
makes,
you think?
That's what makes it charming. That's what makes it fun. Like, it is a comedy. You said it's so bad it's good, but then you say, it's intentional how bad it is. So I don't think, that is so bad it's good. It's just meant to be absurdist. It's just meant to be funny. It's meant to be ridiculous. The more absurdist the movie is, the better. Surely that's the logic right there. So yeah, I was absolutely fine with the ending because they were doing all this against stupid like kung fu stuff at the end. Like they've been doing throughout the whole movie, and yeah, obviously they're going to do that. Just the stakes are raised, and the movie has to get serious because it's the end. And it's not the best part of the movie. Obviously, the best part is probably the middle part where they're playing these games for the first time, and it's just kind of ridiculous all the shit they're doing, and that's fun. But yeah, no, I didn't have a problem really with the ending, to be honest with you, and I wouldn't sacrifice the beginning of the movie and make it less fun to help the ending. I think that would defeat the point of the movie, to be honest. So yeah, and overall, yeah, I did like it. I do like the concept of mixing kung fu with football, not soccer. Football, no, of course it's fine.
Yeah, but it has to be alliterative, Luke.
Yeah, Shaolin soccer, good point, alliteration. So yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with the movie. I actually liked it. And one of the reasons why I chose to review it, of course, yes, the World Cup is coming up. It's the 25-year anniversary of this movie. But I actually had this movie on DVD when I was a kid.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Can you believe that? Yeah. Again, because football movies don't. It's not a lot of football movies. Do you remember Goal?
I do remember Goal. I actually mentioned Goal recently, but I'm not going to tell you the context.
Was it okay? You can if the context is fun.
The only context is it was a conversation about a movie about illegal immigration, and I was like, oh, did they? Does it start off with them crossing the border illegally, like the hit movie Goal? That was the context.
Okay. Okay. Well, to be fair, Goal was a hit movie. To be honest with you, so yeah, not really.
It's just like the only thing I remember from Goal is that they cross the border illegally and then they end up in Newcastle.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
You cross the border in Mexico into America and then end up in Newcastle. But yeah, so that, the Goal movie was, again, another movie I had on DVD as a kid. Because, again, there's just not a lot of football movies, and of course I was obsessed with football and still am to some extent. And this was another football movie. And I remember watching it, and of course I recognized, even as a kid, how ridiculous it was. But it was still kind of fun to watch, like I got a lot of that. I got a lot out of it because it was just a fun movie. And I was there's some movies that I remember seeing as a kid, and we review for these reviews that we do. And I think to myself, is this going to hold up? Is this going to be a disappointment? Because I think I remember when we reviewed Lilo and Stitch, that was a disappointment. Even though I watched that movie as a kid, I liked it. We review it like 20 years later, and it's like, oh yeah, this is actually not that good. I'm quite disappointed. This, on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, this is fun because it is just absurd, and I can sit back and I can enjoy it. And also the fact that it's less than 90 minutes, that helps as well. To some extent.
Presumably the version you watched growing up was also less than 90 minutes.
Yes, it was the.
Yes.
Yes,
I imagine you weren't reading Chinese or reading subtitles as a kid.
No, yeah, but the dub was the automatic version when you hit play. The dub was there. Yeah, because watching foreign films with subtitles, that's become a trend in recent years. But I feel like definitely 20 years ago, audiences just did not do that.
Simpler times, in many ways, better times.
Yes. So let's get into nitpicks and litpicks. How many do you have, Michael?
I don't have any really. The only one I can say is that I mentioned that the subs and the dubs were different, and basically when he's buying the dumplings, the sub, unless I misheard it, which they do have Chinese accents in the sub, which I find funny. But sorry, in the dub, the dub, it sounded like she said that the buns were 50p. 2 for $1, or 50 cents each, 2 for $1, and then the subtitle said 60 cents, 2 for $1. And I was like, okay, so in the subtitle universe, it's actually like a deal, whereas in the dub universe, she's just showing off that as a Chinese woman, she has to express things in mathematical terms, like She had to do some multiplication. That's the only thing I have to say.
By the way, they also have Chinese accents in the sub as well.
Oh, yes, makes sense.
Yeah, because you said, they have Chinese accents in the dub. Well, they also, you corrected yourself, but you were right initially. They have Chinese accents in the sub. Yes.
It would be very funny if they didn't have Chinese accents in the sub.
Yes. So my nitpick is also, well, I've already kind of mentioned it. It is also about the subtitles on the dub because, I enjoy watching movies where they speak their language, and then I was forced to switch to the dub. Forced to watch the version which is 30 minutes shorter.
Like a pleb.
But yeah, it just made me realise how bad the dub was because it's just so awful. Or how bad dubbing is in general when it's not, cartoons. When
I do find it funny. Like I will say that to the favour of dubs. I like how they sound. It kind of, to me, dubs always feel kind of nostalgic, which again is probably because of, like you said, in old foreign movies they would just always dub it.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah. But yeah, I prefer the sub, especially as the Chinese language, or would it be Mandarin or Cantonese? Because in Hong Kong they speak Cantonese.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. But Cantonese is quite similar to Mandarin. I think Mandarin is like an evolved version of Cantonese, from what I can gather. But yeah, just the Chinese accent the Chinese language. Combined with the accent, of course. When you hear Chinese people speak it, which I have done recently, it's very interesting because it's just very interesting to contrast it with Japanese because it's just more funny, the Chinese language. It's just like it's more phonetic. Also, Michael, Puma sponsor all the teams in this movie. Did you notice that?
No, I did not.
No, you didn't, because you don't pay attention to anything, do you?
Puma. I don't even know what the Puma logo is. Puma logo.
It's a fucking Puma, you retard.
Yeah,
what do you mean you don't know what
the
Puma logo... What the fuck are you...
Well, I don't know, I wasn't sure exactly what kind of, I assumed it would be a Puma, but I just wanted to... Yeah, okay, yeah, I know this logo. I haven't seen it on very much, to be honest. They make sports stuff, don't they? I know this company.
Yeah, so Puma. And I just hope... soon it's going to be the 25th year and the exact 25th year anniversary of this movie, and because again, this is a cult football movie. It's got a cult following. It says so on Wikipedia. It's kind of a famous movie in some respects. I really hope Puma release some merch or some boots with like a Shaolin soccer inspired colorway. I think that would be really cool. As someone who likes football boots, I hope they do that. And I'm gonna remind you if Puma do decide to do that. But yeah, there you go. That's it. Let's get into the plot/premise.
Yes. The film revolves around a former Shaolin monk who reunites his 5 brothers years after their master's death to supply their superhuman martial arts skills to play soccer and bring Shaolin Kung Fu to the masses. I didn't realize they were brothers, by the way. Is this like... let me clarify. So brothers, does that mean like it's not... does that mean biological brothers?
I'm sorry, are you actually retarded? Did you have it, or did you have a different dub to me?
I don't know, did they say like brothers a lot in your dub? Because in my version, I just I remember the scenes of them going to recruit all the different people.
Yeah, look. Here's the thing. Normally, I'd be like, well, obviously you had a different dub to me, because like they say constantly, "Let's go see your brother," or "Your brothers aren't coming." And when he meets, them, he goes, "Hey, brother, how you doing, brother?" Oh, why do I have to be the brother who is bald? I'm the good-looking one. Why do you have to have your hair? Stuff like this is constantly said.
I do remember. See, now, when you say the scene of blah, 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 your brothers aren't coming, I really feel like he said, your friends aren't coming. Okay, I actually have the version. I'm going to find it because I care enough to see what he actually says.
Okay, like, normally I'd be like, you clearly have a different dub to me. But knowing you, Michael... Knowing you, I have to think you just completely missed that because
there's also the possibility that they said brothers, and I just assumed they were saying it in like kind of a friend way, and therefore I just substituted a friend in my head.
No, because they constantly mention
let me investigate.
It's unmistakable that they're brothers, unmistakable. Because I mean, you can see how similar they look, so they must be brothers.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's racist. Disgusting. Okay, I'm finding the scene because I really need to know. So they're on top of the roof. see if he says brothers. He said brothers.
He said brothers. Yeah.
He said brothers.
Okay.
Your brothers
So
aren't coming.
You did not have a different dub to me. Unsurprisingly, you didn't have a different dub because you just do not pay attention to anything in movies, do you?
I guess I just didn't think they would be brothers because they seem so different.
It's incredible, like, after the disaster, your embarrassing performance while reviewing The Secret Agent, you know, that you had the temerity to say, oh, no, the movie was too complicated, and that's why I didn't understand anything that was happening in the movie.
Yeah, it was, like, such a complicated movie. Like, that's the thing. It's crazy.
I couldn't recall anything. And then just several weeks later, you somehow miss, even though in the first half of the movie it said constantly that the main character is recruiting his brothers. You somehow miss that. That is unbelievable.
I think it's absolutely just 100% the case that I assumed brothers was being used in the movie. I probably just assumed brothers was like what they say for like their brotherly order. But you know, like, it's kind of like the same way, like because they're monks, like because they're Shaolin, or like because Shaolin's like monks. That's I'm sure that's it, because you know at the end of the day, either that or whatever. Who cares? Maybe I just couldn't understand it. If only I had my subtitles up.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. You had subtitles as well.
I bet the subtitles. I'm not going to check the subtitles.
The subtitles would have said brother.
You know what? I can actually check the subtitle file. I'm gonna check the subtitle file. Okay.
Yeah, the best defense you have is like, oh yeah, they're monks, or you know, they trained under the same master, so they call each other brother because you know they were part of this organization, you know, and they were close to each other. Maybe that was what you were thinking in your head. But the word brother is mentioned about like 20 times in this movie. You know?
I see. In the subtitles, we've got first brother. Are you sick, first brother? First big brother, thank you. First brother, what's wrong? Just ask the other brothers. Good morning, fourth brother. This is the group picture of our master and brothers. Third brother, you could use your... Why does it say... So do they just refer to each other by number the whole time? He's sixth small brother, way vest. Fifth brother, not sure. You want to play soccer? Yeah, I don't know. See, again, like this could be... I feel like... I'm going to guess with the subtitles. The subtitles are probably a more literal translation of the Chinese, because I don't remember them saying, hey, first brother. Hi there, second brother. I bet
they don't.
They
don't say first or second brother. They don't say that. Okay, this is great. We spent 5 minutes on this.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Okay, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So how about that premise, eh?
Yeah. All right. Well. Again, once again, you've embarrassed yourself, but I guess we have to move on. And I would just implore you in the future, please just pay attention to movies when you're watching them. But yeah, maybe take some Adderall beforehand. Maybe that'll do the job. Yeah, and then you can actually, you know,
Adderall.
You can actually know what happens in the movie. When you're watching it. So yeah, this plot. Well, again, like I said, I think it's an innovative idea to combine these two sports, even though of course it is football.
Yes.
And I think the sport of soccer mixes well with kung fu. It's a winning idea because again, like if you create a football movie, it's going to have universal appeal, or a soccer movie, whatever. And of course, yeah, it's a Chinese movie. The Chinese are known for kung fu. Well, it's a Hong Kong movie, but you know, same thing. And yeah, this movie, of course, is a comedy as well, which doesn't take itself seriously. So you're like, well, of course, yeah, kung fu and football, would they actually mix? You know, well, again, this movie is ridiculous, so it's fine. Like, it's fine. And yeah, the plot is, of course, very simple as well. So that my point of view when watching this movie is like, yeah, what's not to like? You know, the premise is good. I like it. The plot is simple. Again, it's under 90 minutes with the version we watched. It's fun. You're like you can't dislike this movie. I refuse to believe you can dislike this movie. No, and you could say, well, maybe you're only saying that because you like football. You're a fan of football. And honestly, like I watched the F1 movie recently. Or we both have. Even though, and of course, I'm a massive fan of F1. And because I'm a massive fan of F1, I dislike the F1 movie because it took itself seriously and it got a lot of details wrong and it was just shit. This, of course, it gets a lot of stuff wrong in terms of the fact that, you know, it's completely unrealistic, but again, it's fun. So I can't help but like it. So again, me being a fan of football, I don't think has anything to do with this. And in fact, I think if you're a fan of sports, you're more likely to kind of, you know, dislike movies about that particular sport if, you know, there is some... If it isn't accurate. Of course, this movie is not accurate at all. So yeah, I guess, did you like the premise, Michael?
I also really like the premise. I think it absolutely works very well. This idea of literally Shaolin soccer. I think when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense as an idea because obviously with the football, you do a lot of kicking. With kung fu, you do a lot of kicking. I can imagine there would be an overlap in the abilities.
Yes, that's why it works. Yes, yeah. There's another movie I'm going to compare this movie to, but I'm going to do it after you read about the inspiration for Shaolin Soccer. Yeah.
Yes, the inspiration. The inspiration for Shaolin Soccer came from Chow wanting a unique premise for a martial arts action film. According to an interview with Premier Magazine, Chow stated, I'm not going to do the accent, Luke.
I thought you were going to do...
Actuary.
Dylan would, yeah.
Yeah. The over-the-top CG and kinetic soccer moves were an inspiration that came from the classic Japanese manga series, Captain Tsubasa. The animation was very big in Hong Kong over 10 years ago when it swept kids of all ages and even adults loved it. It has a cult following in Europe as well, but it was only possible with pen and ink back then. Now with the advent of CGI, it can really be done. The idea of combining it with Kung Fu was in my head for many years, but we had to wait for the CG technology to mature. I didn't know, so they just stole the idea like a maverick.
Yeah, well, the Chinese are known for stealing stuff, aren't they? Like, I don't mean like, I mean stealing like ideas and, knockoffs and fakes and all of that kind of stuff, But they make their own stuff now, which is why they're doing so well. And why, this is the Chinese century we're in. And, it's a pleasure to be a part of that. No, but, it makes sense. He had this idea in his head for years because, it worked, like combining football with Kung Fu. And, what is another comedy movie, Michael, which combines two sports together? Specifically, the plot is this guy is really good. Well, maybe not really good. He likes
Gilmore.
This. Oh, you got it right away. Yeah.
Yes.
Happy Gilmore. Yeah. It's very similar to Happy Gilmore in that regard. Again, Happy Gilmore is a hockey player, and he uses that hockey technique to play golf, and he's really successful at it. And same thing here. This guy, what is he called in the movie? I think his name is Singh. But Stephen Chow, he's the main character. He's really good at kung fu, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to apply the same technique to soccer, and guess what? He becomes a Shaolin soccer star. Again, it works. You kick the ball really hard in kung fu. You kick the ball really hard. You kick the ball really hard in football. That's normally good. I like to kick the ball hard. I think it's a good tactic a lot of the time. Obviously, if you do kung fu a lot, you're probably going to be able to kick a football quite hard. So, it just like Happy Gilmore, it works. I'm surprised. I was looking on the Wikipedia page for any mention of Happy Gilmore, but it didn't come up. Did you think of Happy Gilmore at all before?
No, not until you mentioned it just then. No, but I mean, it makes sense. This idea of combining different sports together, and I can see that connection definitely.
Quickly, right now, come up with two more sports you can combine together.
A guy who has retired to become a baseball player is suddenly forced to play basketball in order to help some Toons win their free. Oh no! I think so. I'm going to say let's go for wrestling and American football. Right? There's a guy. He's a wrestler. He's kind of he's got that wrestling WWE personality, but he suddenly ends up becoming an American football player. Has that even happened before? I feel like there might have been some American football players who transitioned to wrestling. I'm not sure, but. I'm still counting it as an original idea.
The thing is, in wrestling, you're trying to pin your opponent. That's not really...
Yeah, but I'm talking about like WWE fake wrestling, to be fair.
So
okay. not like real wrestling.
I don't think so. Maybe... So what are you talking about? Going from what to what?
So he goes from WWE wrestling to being a professional NFL player.
I could see that happening the other way around, but no, I don't think that's happened. Maybe somebody's done that, but I was thinking like maybe tennis and baseball. Like a baseball player. He's used to like being at bat. Hitting these like 100-mile-per-hour balls, and then he transitions to tennis, and he doesn't have the technique down, but he can hit the ball really hard, which is kind of the same thing as like Happy Gilmore and. Fucking this movie, that's the thing. It's just the ability to hit the ball, whether it's a golf ball or a football, really hard, and you can do that because you're a hockey player or a kung fu player. So just do the same with that with another sport. Anyway, shall we get? Actually, there's one more thing for you to mention about Chow.
Yes, Chow had intended for this film to appeal to a global audience, stating, I can't rely on the local market because it's too small. So since Shaolin Soccer, it's always my ambition to go international. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, that's so this movie inspired him to go and try to seek a wider audience. It's kind of like how obviously nowadays movies are all terrible because they're trying to appeal to the Chinese market, but in his case, the movie is much better because he realized he had to make it for the Westerners who actually have high standards and care that their content is good.
Yes, because Chinese films are really bad, of course.
Terrible.
How many Chinese films have you seen?
More than I could immediately count off the top of my head. I feel like I've seen like a few. I've seen like some old Chinese films, like and obviously if we're counting Hong Kong films, I've seen like House of the Flying Daggers, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Hero, The Last Samurai. No, I'm just joking. But I've seen
Japanese,
like exactly, yeah. But I've seen a few of those kind of like old. I saw a movie called A Touch of Zen, which may or may not be Chinese. It could also be Japanese. I'm not gonna lie. But to me, Zen seems more Chinese, so I think it's Chinese.
I was going to mention Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon later on in this review. Yeah, because I watched that movie last week for the first time. It may be in preparation for this, but also again I'd just been to China. I feel like I'm at a very Chinese time in my life right now. You know,
I'm a bit of you're a cinephile and a sinophile.
That's great. So yeah, let's get into the plot.
In an opening flashback scene, Golden Leg Feng, a football star in the 1980s, misses a penalty in a crucial match. It transpires he had been manipulated by his teammate Hung, a completely different guy, who'd made a large bet against his own team and offered Feng a piece of the proceeds if he missed the kick on purpose. After missing the kick, spectators attack Feng and break his leg. Yes, so this is all... They do kind of dump out a load of the fucking exposition for how this all happened in a pretty direct way, which, obviously, I guess makes sense because this movie is more about the jokes and the comedy and stuff like that. But yeah, believe it or not, it was so simple, even I could understand it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, the names are great, by the way, Feng and Hung.
I think it's unfortunate for a Chinese guy to be called Hung.
Yeah. You're setting yourself up there, aren't you?
Yes.
But yeah, again, the start makes sense. It's logical, Would it be better if the hero Feng needed money, to pay for his mother's eye operation, something like that? Because I was expecting, like, later on in the movie there to be some callback to this moment about money, but money doesn't really come into it at all, does it?
No, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So yeah. That's a shame. Again, you know what? This movie could have been better plot-wise. A crazy thing to say.
Yeah. It didn't quite hit all of the beats of the most. It's no Citizen Kane.
No, it's not.
That's my take of the day. 20 years later, Feng has a limp and is the lackey of Hung, a completely different guy, now a successful businessman. When Feng asks to coach Hung's football squad, Hung mocks him and reveals that he tricked him with a bad check and hired those who broke his leg. Yes, so this is when you find out Feng is a bad guy. Is this maybe
no? What are you fucking racist?
Oh, sorry, Hung's the fucking bad guy.
Yes, Feng is the good guy. Hung, again, it says like right there in your notes, a completely different guy. Yeah.
So Hung is the bad guy. So we find out Hung's a bad guy. With that said, is this a good time to mention that the team he coaches is called Team Evil?
It's great, isn't it? I love it. Like, how can you hate on this movie, but then the bad team is called Team Evil? Oh god, it's great. But yeah, you have this villain, and you have this guy who needs redemption, and the villain he's not even the coach of Team, he's the owner of Team Evil, But yeah, it also makes sense that Hung hired people to break Feng's leg, because I was thinking when I was watching it, the crowd wouldn't do that. You miss a penalty kick, the crowd don't charge onto the pitch and try and destroy beat up the player who's just missed the penalty kick. That just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So okay, right, it makes sense. A mob was hired to beat him up. Right, that's great. But yeah, I was just hit again complaining about the plot, which is kind of stupid. But why would Hung tell Feng now? 20 years after the fact.
I was thinking that, yeah. It kind of just felt like the only reason he did that is so that the audience knows.
Yeah, Hung's stupidity is something we can just ignore. He's a good villain. He wears those like sunglasses, like he looks kind of Western as well. He doesn't really look that Chinese, to be honest with you. And maybe that's the point. He can't look Chinese. He has to have that Western look about him. And yeah, obviously he owns a team called Team Evil, so that's all we need. We don't need like intelligent decisions from the villain to make him scary. We just need him to own a team called Team Evil. That's all we need.
Yeah, Team Rocket's blasting off again. While drinking his sorrows in the street, Feng comes across Sing, a completely different guy. That's easier. It's a good thing he's not called Sung, a Shaolin kung fu master who wants to promote the practical benefits of the martial art to the world. No one takes kung fu classes from Sing, however, as he is dirty and poor. Yes, so I like his little thing about how everyone needs to learn kung fu because it's useful for them. The moment where that woman slips on the banana peel was the moment where I was like, okay, this movie is not trying to be very serious. It was my assessment at that moment, because you're literally like, whoa, I was like, okay, so it's so we playing, huh? I said,
yeah, no. So you didn't think that when the guy was the owner of a team called Team Evil,
Genuinely, I had like a second of thinking to myself, am I misunderstanding the words coming out of their mouth? Like, are they saying because when they said that, I was like, is there any possibility that Team Evil somehow means something else, or it's like maybe a nickname for it or something like that? So yeah, basically that was my explanation at that point.
That's the thing. Like, the Chinese, they like the slapstick. They like the stupid stuff that happens. In their movies. They're very simple people. The Chinese. They're not complicated. Yes. Like, that's the thing. The Japanese, they're a bit complicated. And the Koreans, again, are kind of in the middle, are kind of halfway in between. But yeah, the Japanese think very highly of themselves. The Chinese really don't. Again, in China, you'll see a lot of people that are like, which have a similar, look to Brexit geezers in the UK, or like your stereotypical like redneck, in the US. You just don't get that in Japan. So they like this stupid comedy. They like it. They lap it up again. That's my take. On the differences as an expert on the differences between like the Chinese and the Japanese, for instance.
Yes.
You understand that, Michael? Yeah.
No, absolutely, and I 100% agree. I know there's like a Japanese thing. A Family Guy thing that's about like a Chinaman among Japanese people like trying to fit in. And it's like Japanese like, word has gone out that there is a Chinaman among our midst. And then it's like, and then it just pans over to this like dirty looking farmer with a yak next to him. Like all the Japanese guys are in like suits. And then the Chinese guy, too bad about that Chinese man. I wonder who he is. So
yeah, well, he doesn't actually say that. I remember the exact line.
Oh, okay, you know the exact line. Yeah.
It's too bad about that Chinese guy, huh? Yeah, but no. So yeah, the Chinese are different, and again, that great Family Guy cutaway gag highlights. There's a lot of poverty, or was, back in the 2000s in China compared to Japan. But yeah, the Japanese are more serious. They're more uptight.
Oh well, I mean, you're right. They're very simple people. So yeah, I mean, obviously, we're talking about like the humor and stuff. Which yeah, I mean, to me, this felt like kind of at some points humor that felt like actually kind of British at the same time, and I know you've mentioned this idea of like British nonsense before. There are like some of those old school British comedies kind of have this aspect of just absurdism and kind of also like the weird stuff with kind of special effects and like production values and things like that. Like I think you can say like Monty Python and the Holy Grail kind of had some similar things with like, obviously that was a lot more meta, but kind of being very silly.
I don't think this movie goes as far as being British nonsense.
No.
I don't think it does that. Like all, you describe this movie as silly, in terms of like its premise, but like a lot of the jokes aren't what I'd call like silly. They're stupid. They're stupid, but they're absurdist. But again, I think there's a difference to like silliness, which often doesn't have a basis and is just like, at its worst, just random bullshit. I don't think this movie is like that. But yeah, in terms of the plot, I just think it's obviously very cliche. They love this in these like Asian movies, like this young like kung fu guy or young whoever, and he's mentored by this old wise master looking for redemption. I feel that's a very Asian kind of thing. A very Asian plot device. So yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Like that's. I guess it was intentionally leaning into those tropes. Fung soon discovers the power of Sing's leg and offers to coach him in football. Yes, yes, it is Sing. Sing wants to like kind of promote kung fu by going to like doing all these like weird things, like they sing a song and stuff like that. You'd think they would have realized their interests being aligned a little bit sooner, honestly. But yeah, whatever.
Fung, there we go. I do like how Fung discovers, that Sing has this incredible talent because of he kicks the can away and then he finds it in a wall, which again is it's ridiculous considering how big the city is. Whatever, it's a stupid movie. It's fine. And then he takes the can out of the wall. He's in disbelief. He's like, did he really kick it that far and that powerfully? Wow. Then he sees them. Then he sees Sing beating up a bunch of guys who were pissed off at his fucking song. Oh, do you remember his song that he did? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember the song. I can't remember anything about it in terms of substance, but yes, I do remember the song.
Yeah, that was great. But yeah, I think the scene where Chow, the director and writer and star Stephen Chow, beats up all those guys. Like he's showing off when he's doing that. He thinks he's Bruce Lee in that scene. Like yes. He's like, I gotta have one scene where I show everybody how good I am at kung fu, and one scene where I'm like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I mean, to me, because I like the old Jackie Chan, and I think because that's the thing. This movie, it doesn't have I would say great kung fu, mostly because it's so ridiculous that it doesn't feel. I guess with the CGI and everything like that, a lot of the time it doesn't feel entirely. With Jackie Chan, you can kind of tell how the fight is progressing, if that makes sense, and that kind of means that the kung fu is a little bit more impressive in itself. But yeah, whatever. That's just the thing. It's not really supposed to be a proper kung fu movie, so who really cares? I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Who really cares?
Who gives a fuck, as they say. Compelled by the idea of promoting kung fu through football, Sing asks his former Shaolin friends to join his team. Sing's good friends eventually agree.
Yeah, brothers. It says brothers, not friends.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that. That makes sense.
Yeah. I do like how Sing has 5 brothers, each of whom are different from one another. They look different, which again doesn't really work if they're brothers. But actually, that maybe benefits your point of view. But whatever.
I'm a hero.
Yeah, no, but so they look different to one another, and they have completely different jobs. What's weird is he goes to one of his brothers twice at the start, and then he's like, I'll find my other brothers, and I'm like, oh, they must live very far away, otherwise he would have visited them. But no, they all live in the same city. Okay, right, fine. Each one of these brothers, they have a different kung fu skill. And it's useful in football. The guy who can spin the ball on his chest, that's very unique. I don't know if there is any heritage with that, in kung fu. Is that a thing?
I don't know. Yeah, the only thing is I know there is a thing of you get those kung fu masters who are just really fat, and they kind of basically they kind of use their special ability based on that. It's they can use their sheer mass. I mean, obviously it's a little bit like sumo wrestling, arguably, possibly, potentially, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a bit like sumo, but we don't want to be offensive.
No.
But yeah, they all have they all are useful at a different skill in football. Doesn't matter how unrealistic that skill is. They all have different FIFA playstyles, Michael. Playstyles are this thing in FIFA where if you have this ability, for instance, to play very good long passes or do very good finesse shots or load driven shots. Specific players have these playstyles. FIFA implement. Well, it's FC now. EA FC, that's what the game's called now, because FIFA dropped FIFA didn't allow EA to continue with giving the games the FIFA name, which has backfired on FIFA. But anyway, it's just like that, Michael. That's the point. Play styles in EA FC, just like these brothers in this Shaolin soccer movie, and you'd really appreciate that comparison if you played EA FC. Just to let you know.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Sadly, it's gone over your head.
EAFC. So this is, actually, this information that, because I know of the FIFA games, and this news that they're not FIFA games anymore is actually quite interesting.
Yeah. It started in 2024. because FIFA were like, yeah, we don't want to license our name to EA anymore. We want to create our own football game. So yeah, they're missing out on like hundreds of millions of dollars by not licensing.
Future football games by EA are named under the banner of EA Sports FC, beginning of EA Sports FC 24. Okay, yeah, this is interesting. I didn't realize that. That's cool. Yeah, the last FIFA game I had was from, I think, 2018. So
the last FIFA was FIFA. Yeah, it was FIFA 23. That was the last FIFA. Yep. But yeah, and that's the thing. I don't really think it's really affected EA because like they're still selling the game. You know, they just lost the FIFA name. So yeah, let's move on.
Yes. Chow cast several people in his entourage who had no prior acting experience. For example, Lam Chi Chung, who plays Lightweight, had worked as Chow's screenwriter, and Danny Chan Kwok Kwan, who plays Empty Hand, was the dance choreographer hired to create the Michael Jackson dance number that followed Singh and Mui's first meeting early on in the film. Wait, Michael Jackson? Because hold on, isn't that so? Don't they do it to celebrate good times?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah. That was bizarre.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. I don't remember when I was watching that, and we haven't referenced this up until now. Yeah, when they're all dancing outside like movies, like famous steamy buns place, you know, like, and yeah, it's like, wait, what? I don't remember this being a musical. That's what I was thinking. Like, why are they doing this like song and dance number? And then they never do they do one song later on. But yeah, after that, like, there's nothing. There's no dancing at all. So it was a very bizarre moment in the movie.
I mean, I guess we by the end of the movie, you're like, yeah, that's just something that would happen. So whatever. It's like, yes.
I say it's very bizarre when the whole movie is kind of bizarre, you know. So it does fit. But yeah, did you notice that some of the actors weren't actually actors? You know,
not really. But obviously, it's very hard to tell when they're clearly like the dialogue is from obviously someone else because it's being subbed. So and also the film is so silly that you know they don't really have to be acting very dramatically.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yes, but you know whatever. At least they helped a brother out. As a test, Fung arranges a game with a team known for their vicious cheating. The Thug team gives the Shaolin team a beating. When all seems lost, the Shaolin team members reawaken their powers and utilize them to defeat the other team. Yes, they defeat the other team with ease and well done. Good job, them. I thought it was funny. I think it was quite funny watching them get beaten up and like losing and stuff. I did enjoy that.
Yeah. No, it
showed the challenge.
Yeah, it was good. But I get a bit of an issue with the plot here. It could have been better. There was no indication these five brothers had like lost their kung fu powers. Like that wasn't set up.
I was a bit confused by that, but again, I see. Sometimes I don't trust myself because I just assume that I must have missed something.
Yeah, well, you're right to not trust yourself, but yeah, it'd be good if obviously like the Singh guy, you know, the main character, he loves kung fu. He's been doing kung fu consistently, so he still has his powers. So yeah, it makes sense that he's really good. And yeah, it'd be good if the other brothers are like, yeah, we used to be as good as him. We used to have the same kung fu powers, but we just don't anymore. And then, of course, then all of a sudden they get their powers back. I don't know why they get their powers back, but it just happens. So yeah, there you go. And you know what? It's funny. The whole scene is funny when that guy like drops his spanner out of his like shorts. If you remember that?
And he's like, "Oh, I'm a mechanic." Yeah, he says he's on cool.
Yeah, that's really good. That's funny. I like that. But yeah. See, you know, this movie, it has some funny moments, Michael. You know, well, it has quite a lot of funny moments, and some are quite good. But yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I did think it was. This scene was very funny. The thugs asked to join Singh's team, which takes the name Team Shaolin or Team Good in the American version of the film. Yeah. Did I remember them being called Team Good? I can't. Okay.
Yeah, they were called Team Shaolin in the dub.
Okay, cool. Yes.
And to be honest, you may have watched the American dub. I don't know. In the dub I watched, they were called Team Shaolin. I assume it was the same version you watched.
Yeah, I don't really remember their exact team, but I think that would make sense. If I don't remember the name of their team, that would make sense with their team just being such an obvious name. So them being called Team Shaolin would probably mean I was just like, yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, I just don't know why they were called Team Good in the American version. You know, of course, to contrast Team Evil. Yeah. You know, but why? Who made that decision? Did the American like executives who were distributing this film in America, did they think, oh, the American audiences won't get who's the good guys if you know the good team is called Team Shaolin? We need them to be called Team Good. You know. I mean, doesn't that say quite a lot about American audiences there?
Yeah, American audiences are idiots.
Yeah, sure. I mean, surely that must be the case, right? I mean, otherwise, why would you? What's the problem with them being called Team Shaolin? Because it's Shaolin Soccer. That's the title of the movie. It's not complicated, is it? But whatever.
No,
yeah. I also I like that I was wondering, how is this team going to get to 11 players? Obviously, because the six brothers. How are you going to get to 11 players? But then, of course, the defeated team asks to join them, and then you get 11 players. So
yes, I was thinking that because I was like, this is not the right number. Do you want to hear about some drama? It turns out the drama wasn't just on the pitch. China ban and Shaolin. In 2001, Chow clashed with the Chinese Movie Bureau, SARFed, during the examination of Shaolin soccer. Shaolin Temple complained about putting soccer alongside Shaolin, which they worried would insult Buddhists. Chow refused to change the title to Kung Fu Soccer. The term Shaolin had been registered by the Shaolin Temple and could not be used without approval. Chow declined to meet temple representatives, which led to the film's near loss-making performance and circulation, mainly through pirated copies in mainland China. Okay, yeah, that is interesting. I didn't realize that Shaolin... So the Shaolin Temple, this is like... That's like actually talking about the religious organization, right?
Yeah.
Of the Shaolin monks. That's interesting that they like kind of get involved in stuff. Because I always thought like the concept of a Shaolin monk was like such an ancient idea that it didn't really have any sort of institutional power at all. But that's fun.
No, in China, Michael, they respect the ancient ways.
That's good.
In China, nowadays, if you visit, you'll really get a great experience of the fusion between the ancient and the modern.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's actually, to be fair, what I've heard. So I'm glad to hear that you can report that is in fact accurate. I'm glad I got an unbiased confirmation.
Yes, and the Chinese government didn't, tell me to say any of that, or brainwash me, of course. Yeah, no, so yeah, it's no surprise. Yeah, the Shaolin monks still have. Well, yeah, they registered the term Shaolin, I guess. But yeah, it's crazy that Chow declined to meet with the temple representatives. Just meet with them and be respectful and say, hey, I really want, to use this title, and look how the movie, bigs up Shaolin, and Kung Fu. You'll love it, It'll be some great PR this for Kung Fu, but he just didn't want to meet with him, and it almost caused his movie to lose money because of that, which is funny. But I did want to point out because in that paragraph you just read, Shaolin Temple complained about putting soccer alongside Shaolin because they worried it would insult Buddhists, and one of the brothers earlier on in the movie says, "Oh, we shouldn't use Kung Fu to play soccer because that's disrespectful. Our master wouldn't have wanted us to do that." So yeah, I was kind of expecting a plot line, but again, this is quite a stupid movie. But I was kind of expecting a plot line where, there would be some backlash maybe to this team using Kung Fu to play soccer. And the question would be asked: is it disrespectful to use Kung Fu to play soccer? I'd like that if that was a theme throughout the movie, and it's like, no, in fact, we're using Kung Fu, to play the sport, but it's spreading awareness of Kung Fu, which of course is eventually what happens at the end of the movie, So yeah, but no, there wasn't that conflict in the movie, which again was kind of disappointing. Once again, the plot could have been a bit better, Michael.
Yeah, in a way, I don't know, because like that's the thing, that would need the film to be a bit more serious, which. I suppose like the thing that I would think is kind of a contrast to this, I know I'm kind of contrasting it with like the best film ever made or one of the best comedies ever made, but like you have something like Hot Fuzz where it's like very silly, very absurdist in a lot of ways, but then it does have like serious moments that can also land quite well. Again, probably not a fair comparison because that's such a great film, but like that's kind of I guess what I'm thinking in terms of what could have made this film actually a really good film, to be landing those more serious moments, all those more kind of thematically interesting moments would make this film better.
Yeah, and it is the central character's like main motivation to promote Kung Fu. So if you had people saying, "Oh, what you're doing is disrespectful to Kung Fu," there's a natural conflict there. That I think would fit quite well. But whatever.
Yeah, c'est la vie. Feeling confident about this new development in his life, Singh takes his girl, who is a friend, Moi, to try on expensive dresses at a high-end department store. She gets a makeover to impress him, though the team and her boss mock her exaggerated 1980s look. When Moi hints at her feelings for Singh, he tells her he only wants to be friends. She disappears after her boss fires her. So her being so ugly is kind of interesting because it's like obviously reminiscent of the thing you get in a lot of movies where like, oh, a girl is just kind of made to look ugly by like wearing glasses and having her hair tied up in a ponytail. But in this case, she literally is covered with acne. That seemed almost like a parody, which I don't know if it was supposed to be. Like, to me, I was like, oh, you have this like girl who seems to be set up as a love interest, even though oh wait, no, she doesn't. Sorry, yeah, there's the fucking newspaper thing at the end. I was gonna say, even though she doesn't end up a love interest, she does, but it's like just in the newspaper at the headline at the end. But yeah, this thing of like a love interest being like, oh, she's ugly, but then she's pretty. I was like, are they gonna do this? And they do, but yeah, like they really commit to it because she's just, I mean, talk about you really need the inner beauty to shine through when you look at what she's got going on with her greasy face. So yeah, I don't know if that was supposed to be like a parody or satire of that trope. I'm not sure.
I'm really not sure. Look, there were, of course, about 30 minutes of deleted scenes.
Yeah.
In the version we watched, and I have to suspect like quite a few of these deleted scenes that we didn't get to see involved Mui.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. Like she turns up looking like this. I was like, why is she looking like someone from the 1980s? That hasn't been set up. Yeah, and then yeah, she. It's just so funny. Like this guy, he's like hitting on her, and then he just rejects her. You know, now he's become a big star. You know, what beast mode? That's what beast mode is. But yeah, no, it's this whole romance plot is really weird, honestly, and it's weird at the end as well when Mumi joins the team, which we'll get to, because like she hasn't been in the movie for like ages, and it's like, wait, why is she back? It's crazy.
Yes, yeah, I did find it weird when she just randomly showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I have to think all these like romance scenes were cut, and honestly, good move, because they're a bit more serious, obviously, because you know they don't follow the same kind of tone as the rest of the movie. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. You know, they were cut, to be honest with you, even though it does make these scenes like kind of weird. You know.
Yeah. Team Shaolin enters the Open Cup competition in Shanghai, where they achieve ridiculously one-sided victories due to their powers. Yes.
So this is where we get into the actual, you know, like combining kung fu with soccer. This is what this movie is famous for, like these scenes. And again, it's not serious. I can enjoy it. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. I like the creative way they score goals. That's good. Although, you know, the keeper can't throw the ball into the opposition goal. That's not allowed. You know, he'd have to kick it. You know. But yeah, again, they're all flying around. They're all doing this weird, unrealistic bullshit. And it's fun. I like it, Michael. Do you like it?
Yeah, I do. I think, you know, I said, and this was my position, like, oh, the fact that they have these abilities makes this whole, like, when they actually start seriously playing in the competition, there's, you know, it's kind of just, what's what I'm looking for when you're basically just, autopilot, I suppose would be the term. You're like, basically the narrative's kind of just on autopilot because they get through no matter what, which obviously means you don't get much of a drama.
Yeah, I like that term, by the way. The narrative is on autopilot. I like that.
Thank you. I really am a genius.
Yeah, of course it applies to this movie. But yeah, the whole point is you're looking at all this crazy shit going on. Like it's not a normal football game. If it was a normal football game, then again you'd need a better narrative, I think. You know?
No, yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, and also having just seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you know, again, there's a lot of unrealistic bullshit in that movie. And that's meant to be like a serious kung fu movie, which is like one of the best like martial arts movies ever. The fat guy just flying around. You know, do you like that him flying around, the fucking guy he's called Ironhead, just like flying up in the air and heading the ball in from like 40 yards. That's great. All great stuff. We love to see it. Again, I think from what I've seen from my limited viewings of like Hong Kong / Chinese cinema. Like, yeah, the action is not meant to be at all realistic. So, yeah, it follows that this wouldn't be realistic. Do you think that's fair?
I think that is fair, yeah. I think it does cohere with the broader expectations of these types of movies. And, yeah, one couldn't really legitimately begrudge this film for doing its ish, as they say. Aichiro Oda, creator of the manga...
Right, I've been to Japan, but you seem to have the accent nailed here, Michael.
Thank you. I do feel pretty good.
Aichiro Oda.
I think I should be... I know that it's supposed to be katana, not katana. This is... Basically, what I've learned about Japan is you don't put any stress on any word, ever.
And how do you say the city beginning with H? That got nuked, yeah.
Hiroshima.
Yeah, exactly, like that.
Yeah, okay.
It's not Hiroshima.
Yes. Aichiro Oda, creator of the manga Ono Pisa, reconsidered his opposition to a live-action adaptation I know. Sorry, I was just. I thought
No,
we
I
kind
just
of-
because it's One Piece, so it's a big
Yes.
deal, you know. Yeah. I just
Yeah,
want people to
yes.
know
One
you said
Piece,
one.
yes. Yes. And I have heard of, wait, I have heard of One Piece, yeah. One Piece is very famous. Reconsidered his opposition to a live action adaptation after watching Shaolin Soccer, which convinced him it was feasible. Okay. I'm gonna be honest, like, I've heard of One Piece. I know nothing about it, but that is, like, interesting because I thought
Sorry.
One Piece was supposed to be, like, very, kind of, I don't know, not very serious, but pretty serious business is what I thought.
You've never. Do you know anything about One Piece then? Anything at all?
I know literally nothing because I know of the anime One Punch Man, which I and I was like, I think for a while I was like, oh, One Piece. It's about that guy who can just knock people out with one punch or whatever. But no, I
Yeah.
literally I've seen people talk about it. I don't think I know a single thing about it, like in terms of its plot or premise or anything.
That's crazy. Wow. You do live under a rock.
Sorry, I'm not a dweeb.
No, because I haven't seen any One Piece stuff either, but I know it's the main character is called Monkey D. Luffy. He's a pirate who's searching for the One Piece. You know, this magical golden like treasure piece, and it's gone on for like 1,000 episodes.
These fucking like Japanese things go on forever. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and his arms can stretch really far. That's like a power of his. Like he's got really stretchy arms. And he has a monkey, and there's a girl on his ship who has like really big tits.
Ooh,
so,
okay,
yeah.
I'll watch it. You've
That's
convinced
great.
me.
It's just not the laugh as well. But yeah, again, because of the amazing kung fu in this movie, Ichiro Oda was like, yeah, you know, I want to, you know, make a live adaptation of One Piece. And it's been super successful. I don't actually know how successful it's been. It's on Netflix, so who knows? But yeah,
Well,
there you go. Yeah,
made history. That's good to hear, actually. And honestly, yeah, it sounds legitimately impressive. So, good job, this guy. No, that is crazy. Team Shaolin only meet their match in the final against Hung's Team Evil, who have superhuman strength and speed due to an American drug. The referee also has been bought out by Hung. Yeah, I think like this is where again another thing of like the in terms of the conflict and it feeling triumphant, it is a little bit. It slightly lessens the intensity of the conflict when it is just about these like arbitrary drugs. It kind of feels like, and I guess what I can think about is, you know, that they say like playground rules, where like kids will be like, oh, actually, I had my laser shield up, which deflects bullets. Like that thing kids will do, and I'll like kind of make up the rules as they're going along. That is what you have here, which again is fine in terms of it being a completely absurdist, silly film, but obviously it means that you don't actually care about really the progression of this game, because you're like, well, they're probably just going to make up some kind of, you know, there's going to be some way that they just get around it that's going to feel kind of arbitrary, which I feel like that's pretty much what happens.
No, I don't think so. I think what we see is kind of just an exaggeration of what we've already seen. Like, again, like the rules, or maybe not the rules, the physics have been established. Like what these players can do have been established. So nothing happens in this final game that is completely weird and like out of whack, you know, and makes me think, all right, well, okay, just anything can happen. Because no, like, again, in some respects, yes, anything can happen because, you know, again, we're not playing with the laws of physics here, but, you know, I like they kick the ball really hard, you know, that's the main thing, you know, like the guy, you know, spinning on the floor, you know, doing keepy ups, you know, we've seen him do that before. Like, we've seen the guy who has, like, this incredible chest, you know, we've seen him, like, spin the ball out of his chest and, like, you know, toss it up the field. Like, again, this is all stuff we've seen before. So, yeah, I don't think this movie is, this final game is, goes overboard in the way you're describing, to be honest with you, you know?
Okay. But yeah, fair enough, I suppose. I guess, like, when people are, like, setting the ball on fire using the power of their mind, that feels like maybe it's a little bit crazy what we're seeing.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever.
When does that happen?
I don't know. I feel like I do remember like this moment where like the ball sets on fire. I think it has something to do with the fat guy.
Well, isn't it just because it's kicked really hard? Like that's why it's on fire. I mean, maybe it just
fire.
Does a player like set the ball on fire using his mind? Because I don't remember that, but maybe it did happen. Because of course, you know,
I might be making it up. Yeah,
crazy shit happens. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, again, if that did happen, then that would be something where I'm like, what? That hasn't been established yet. That's obviously that you can't. Yeah, kung fu doesn't allow you to do that. Even like specially enhanced kung fu doesn't allow you to do that. But yeah, I do like how the drug is American. By the way, that's good.
Yes.
In addition to the coach or the owner of Team Evil Hung, looking Western. Yeah, the Westerns are the bad guys. We all know this. Good stuff there. But yeah, I just have a little issue with the game where, I don't like how the score is not central to the game. Like it should be. Nobody really mentions it like at half
Yeah,
time.
I feel like it seems like it is 0-0, basically.
It is, yeah, because nobody scores, so it must be 0-0, I'm guessing.
Yes.
But yeah, like it's not mentioned really at all, to be honest with you. It's just like, nobody says like, yeah, we just need one goal. Like it'd be great if they did some like English football cliches like, keep it tight at the back, lads. First 10 minutes, let them know you're there.
Yeah, I was actually thinking this movie would be, in my view, as a non-racist, slightly better if it was like a down and out British football coach who like happens to be in China. I was thinking like, oh, that would be more fun because then you would actually have that football knowledge in a way where I can understand it, and that makes it better. Clearly,
are you saying this golden leg guy Fung, this coach, does not have football knowledge because he's not British and instead he's Chinese?
I mean, maybe not in so many words. I feel like it's probably a case of he would have that knowledge, but it's just it's not as evident to me. It's not as I don't buy it.
Okay, you don't buy it. All right. The Chinese mind cannot comprehend the sport of football.
Exactly.
To be fair, their football team isn't that good, and neither is Hong Kong, the Hong Kong football team. But yeah.
Team Evil badly injures two of Team Shaolin's goalkeepers. The powerless members of Team Shaolin then flee. Yes, makes sense. What confuses me there is like, surely, well, I don't know. I'm kind of moving on to the next point because obviously, if all of the powerless members flee, surely they'd be significantly below the amount they would need. That was confusing to me.
So I guess not all of them flee then.
Yeah,
maybe just some of them. Yeah, but yeah, I kind of like this tactic from Team Evil. Just injure them. It's a nice tactic. It's different to most other sports movie finales. Like I can think of where it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna injure them, and we paid off the ref. Like because this is kind of a ridiculous comedy movie, so. But for instance, like Dodgeball, a true underdog story, I don't think that's what happens at the end of Dodgeball, for instance, like another kind of ridiculous comedy movie,
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the other team is trying to, like, injure the opposition. They're just trying to win, and they're probably doing it, like, via cheating, but they're trying to win the game, They're trying to, like, for instance, like, Team Evil isn't trying to win 1-0, for instance, or 2-0 or whatever. Yeah, so I kind of like that. It's a bit of a different ending, to what I see in most, like, sports comedy movies. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong there, but yeah, that's just what I remember.
Oh yeah. I do think it seems probably like something heretofore unseen in well, not unseen, but yeah, like kind of just a funny
not
strategy.
common.
And again, it makes them evil. Yes,
exactly. Fits
yes.
the name. Yeah.
As the team is about to lose by default, Mui, who has shaved her head and overcome her acne problem, suddenly appears on the field and offers to be their goalkeeper. So this is. It's the well done. There she is, girl power. Kind of happens a bit out of nowhere, but there it is.
It's like the deleted scenes in my version and your version, I think, really hurt this moment because I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I have to assume there's a setup to this moment in those deleted scenes. Like, why has she got rid of her acne? Why has she shaved her head? I guess to look like a guy. Maybe that's the simple explanation. I remember when I watched this movie as a kid, I didn't know who this character was. Like, I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, wait, who is this character? Like, she doesn't look like anyone, or he, I don't know if I knew it was a woman, but yeah, she doesn't look like anyone we've seen before. Who the fuck is she? And, oh, right, it's this guy's girlfriend. Yeah, okay. So yeah, even as a kid, I was confused. So yeah, it didn't pass that test when I was watching it when I was young. So yeah, I just don't think this moment is that good. It could have been set up better, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
In those deleted scenes, it was set up. So
when Team Evil's striker kicks the ball with flaming force towards Mui,
so there you go. He kicks it with flaming force.
She stops it with Tai Chi. Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, co-creators of... See, I actually know their names. I know, yeah. Co-creators of the Avatar The Last Airbender animated TV series, stated Shaolin Soccer is one of our favourite movies. There's tons of fantastic action and lots of funny moments. Some of the effects provided inspiration for how bending, the art of controlling elements, might look on the show. Yeah, okay, so it gave them the inspiration to look at what it might be like to be a bender. That's kind of interesting that they kind of learned...
So I put that little anecdote in there because when Mui stops the ball with Tai Chi, I think that kind of looks like what they were doing on the Avatar show with the bending.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a similar action. So I'm like, but maybe they were inspired by that moment. Like you're bending the ball, keeping it out of the goal with wind, and that's what fucking Aang does in Avatar, when he bends the wind. Yeah, so there you go. No, I just thought that was nice. I was like, oh yeah, I see.
I actually thought that too. I thought it with the fire. Well, I mean, because they do the fire and it just kind of uses the. Yeah, I actually had that thought myself because obviously in Avatar: Last Airbender it literally is fire versus earth or whatever. Well, fire versus air, I guess.
Yeah.
Typically. So yeah, that is interesting that they actually thought that themselves. The people who made the film. Mui and Singh combine their skills and rocket the ball downfield. The ball blows through Team Evil's goal while hurling all its players off the field, scoring the sole and winning goal. Wow. Imagine knowing that you're going to see a match between fucking people with kung fu and magic powers, and then you find out it ends 1-0.
I love that. Yeah, it's like all the build up to the World Cup final, and it's just like a 1-0 game. Yeah, I remember that. Is. Well, actually, the last two times it's been 4-2 and 3-3. So
it never is.
It's actually, but yeah, back in 2010, 2014, 2006, it was 1-1, 1-0, and 1-0. So yeah, that's what it was like. But yeah, I like that you're expecting the greatest game on earth, and it's just a 1-0 score. A very Brexit scoreline. You keep it tight at the back. Score from a set piece. And yeah, that's how you win. But I do think it's a nice way to end it because you got the ultimate kung fu goal. Tai Chi and Shaolin soccer or the Shaolin kung fu combining to score. And yeah, I think it kind of be good if the ref tried to disallow the goal, because he was paid off. But then all the crowd started cheering, and he was like, I can't really disallow this goal, Because I'm thinking about
shows how the
ref...
people coming together can save the day.
Yeah, exactly. The people of the People's Republic of China. They can overcome corruption together because he's like he can disallow the goal because the goal's being blown over. So how can I give it? It's surely against the regulations
Yes.
if the whole fucking goal blows over. But yeah, there you go. I did like the ending. It was a good moment at the end. I remember it from when I was a kid. So yeah, there you go. It had an impact on me, Michael.
Beautiful, powerful, lovely. Hung is imprisoned for doping, while Team Evil players receive lifetime bans. Oh man, I can't believe Team Evil. That's like breaking news. Team Evil get punished in the game.
Well, it's always the ones you least expect.
Yeah. If you can't trust Team Evil, who can you trust?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Singh goes out for a jog and is pleased to see people around him using kung fu in their everyday lives, his lifelong dream having become a reality. A large ad on the side of the building shows that Singh and Mui, now a famous married couple, have applied kung fu to other sports and won the world championship in bowling. I did like that scene of it kind of going full circle with everyone now using kung fu. I thought that was good.
Yeah. There's a setup and there's a payoff right at the end of the movie, and the main character has achieved his motivation, and we see it in this payoff. Very good, again, very good stuff. And yeah, I like the little joke about them winning the bowling, in America. But yeah, wouldn't maybe get banned for not being an eligible player once they found out, And also, she's a woman. Can they compete in this tournament? Maybe not. But then again, the Chinese do like women pretending to be men, like in Mulan.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe there's precedent there. Maybe they'll let her off. But yeah, I do like the ending. I do think again, this is. It feels stupid to complain about the plot, but again, the screenplay could have been enhanced a bit because I think typically before the final act, and at the end of the second act, you have some conflict that arises. That's something that a typical thing that happens in a lot of movies, right, Michael?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but this film kind of like that, definitely.
Yes, and I think maybe if the coach Fung and of course Singh, they should have a falling out just before the third act about kung fu. About the coach is like, maybe it's half time of the game, and the Fung is like, kung fu's not going to win us this game, like Team Evil are too good. We can't rely on kung fu, and Singh's like, we actually should rely on kung fu. Kung fu will get us the win, and of course kung fu does get them the win. And I think if they had that disagreement, then that would have made the finale better. And I don't know why I put it in my notes here, but yeah, I guess maybe because the ending is like, look how useful kung fu is, and so again there should have been a bit of pushback in the movie, from the coach potentially. He could have said, kung fu is shit, but then actually, kung fu is actually really good. It wins the day, and then at the end, of course, you have this payoff. But yeah, whatever. Again, who cares about me? Improving the script. Who cares, Michael? So yeah, let's conclude. You go first.
Yes, So for me, basically, the good thing about this film is that it is very funny in terms of how ridiculous it is, and I enjoyed that at the beginning. I think as the film went on, the novelty of how crazy it was kind of wore off. I don't know if I had that much interest in watching this film again, and I think there are a few things missing that make a film sort of have, let's call it, kind of staying power in my mind in terms of, let's say, the relationships and the plot being a little bit more kind of impactful. There were some good funny moments though. I'm going to give it, I think, I don't know, you might say it's harsh. I'm gonna give it a high 6. I think that it's funny, it's good, but in terms of its overall quality, it's lacking something such that I don't think I could actually put it up in that 7 range personally.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. So that's very similar to you,
Yes.
even though you have criticised the movie more than me. And yeah, again, the plot could be better. I've made some suggestions and improvements, but overall, it doesn't really matter too much because, yeah, this is just a fun movie. It's got like 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
Yeah, which I was surprised at, but then I was like, you know what? To be fair, like it is like it's a well constructed like comedy movie. Like a lot of comedy movies, I don't think are as good, and I think the action is quite good as well. And yeah, it's respectful to kung fu. It's respectful to saga. Yeah, you know, in as much as it can be. So yeah, like I said at the start, what's not to like about this movie? Again, you can't really hate anything about this movie, and yeah, under 90 minutes, it's good. You know, it's you can't really complain about a lot. So 7 out of 10, I think is fair. Michael, what are we doing next time?
Next time we are doing one of my all-time favorite movies. I actually fucking know this. Wait, I know this, and I'm really annoyed because I didn't check it. Okay,
it's wait. Superman.
Superman. Yeah, okay, yeah, I remembered. Yeah, I was like, oh, we're doing that. Yeah, so Superman. Yes, cool.
Yes,
good stuff.
because of Supergirl. So yes, join us for that in a couple of weeks' time. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening to my review of Shaolin Soccer because of the World Cup. So yeah, hopefully this got everyone prepared for the World Cup. Hopefully, everyone's got World Cup fever now. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Right.
Yeah, and not like hantavirus.